My name is Harold McGee, and I'm author of a bunch of books now about the science of cooking. Back in the 70s, no one was really paying much attention to food. And through a series of accidents, conversations with friends, I realized that food was really interesting. And when I discovered a few journals, like the Journal of Cereal Chemistry, and discovered that you could talk about the chemistry of Cheerios. Mm-hmm. That to me was amazing. I just wanted to share this amazement that these very common everyday things were so interesting, and that's how I started writing about food. I thought I would then write about other things, but food trapped me. It was just an endless subject of interest, and so many different things, so many different ways of dealing with them, so many different depths at which you could try to understand them. So it's been a lifelong thing for me. The way I saw my first book was as a translation of those journals that really fascinated me into everyday English, so that my friends and family and so on could appreciate the amazement that I felt when I paged through them. But of course, that did mean translating very dry scientific information into the experiences that we all have every day.
When looking for different studies, you really want to translate your own enthusiasm and interest. What about a study interests you?
It's mostly things that that I may be somewhat familiar with, but am surprised by the angle or the approach that's being taken. And of course, we're visual creatures. So if I'm paging through a journal or a book or looking online at something, and I see an amazing time-lapse photograph of what happens when a droplet of water hits a pool of very hot oil and it explodes, I love that. I think most people do, because you're seeing something in slow motion that most of us experience as kind of a mess and obnoxious and so on. But in fact, if you don't worry about it and just appreciate what it is that modern science can show us about those phenomena, it can be really fascinating. You're in a way able to be, as a curious cook, you're able to be a kind of pioneer in understanding this little corner of the universe that maybe big time science hasn't paid attention to because it's not big time, but it's something in your kitchen that you've noticed and fascinates you. And nowadays it's really easy to get online and search the sources of information we have these days and begin to put together a hypothesis, and then maybe test that out by changing the way you cook a little bit and seeing what happens. So it's a chance these days to be a cook, but also a kind of explorer of the physical world that I think most other activities just don't allow.